Hey, I went up to Southern View to practice for my upcoming tournament. I recorded some shots. So it's gonna kind of go through what I was thinking with my tournament practice. Hole one is 322 feet. It's behind that tire up in the distance. I don't know if you can see it, but I decided to go with my mid-range here. It was really windy, so that's why I'm recording voiceover rather than just using the actual audio. But I was able to get pretty close on that shot. I think I'll probably go with the reactor unless it's really windy in some other direction. It seems to work out good. Hole 2 is 305 feet. It's hard to the left through that clump of bushes you can see. I went with a force here. I don't think it really cut left enough. I got pretty good distance, but you can see I ended up a little bit in jail. I might end up going with the flare depending
That T-pad's like right in the way.
on the wind. But I did try the flare later and it worked out a little better than the force. It's a little more overstable, a little slower.
Good
There's
approach,
Ali's
though.
shot up to the basket, and there's my
I think this is
force. Got good
right
distance.
behind
I
the
just
tree.
yeah, I got stuck behind that tree there. So we'll see. There's a little bit of let me think. I think it was a right to left tailwind on these first few holes. This next one's a par 4. It's 653
What I think
feet.
will probably be my normal shot for
I just went with the teleport. Try to bite off as much distance as I can. If there's a headwind on this hole, I'm definitely not going to be trying to get aggressive with my drive. There's not really any OB besides the fence on the right. You can see anything over the fence will be OB, and you'll be fine as long as you don't turn anything over. With the tail right to left window, it's pretty safe here.
It's going to be a two-shot hole either way.
So just try to get down there with my teleport and have I think I had like a 200-ish, 220 foot up shot here. So I decided to go with my pilot for that. That will definitely change depending on the wind. If there's a headwind, I'll have to definitely go more stable for that. And the basket's all the way down the corner, and there's fence on the right side and the back side. And you probably won't go through if you throw at it because the openings are only slightly bigger than a disc, and there's some junk behind it. So if you do go OB, it's basically a tap in though because you get 6 meters off the barbed wire. And yeah, there'll just be a tap in at that point. Next hole is a 322 foot hole. We're going back the other way now, so there's a headwind. You can see the basket up there. I think I would normally go with a mid-range, but I upped to a fairway driver here. That's a volt. Just because of the headwind, it's a little more stable. It can fight the wind better. But yeah, you can see it still got turned over, and I pulled it a little bit here. So I used LA's volt here in a second, I think. And you can see that if there's a headwind, I'll probably stick with the volt. There's a reactor shot. That just got eaten up by the wind. That's why I was scared to go with the mid-range. I do have a more stable mid-range, but I think I can trust like the fairway driver a little bit more if there's this much of a headwind. You can see that American flag up there just kind of getting destroyed by the wind. I don't think there's maybe 2 holes on this course that I'm really going conservative on, but basically everything else I just want a birdie. This is a second volt. This one works out a lot better. It still got turned over a little bit, but it was able to fight out and get back to the basket. So I ended up here. It's still a pretty like nervy putt, especially in a tournament situation. Yeah, missed on my practice round too, so that's not great. I think, yeah, most of the holes are gettable. This one especially. Only 184 feet straight, no obstructions. Unless there's some kind of weird wind, I'm going with the pilot here. This is also a little more protected from the wind than the last couple holes. I'm just throwing a few pilots and yeah, they all worked out fine. So this is my understable pilot. Yeah, that's my understable pilot, and that it flips over a tiny bit, but it's fine. This hole should definitely be a musket birdie. This next one's tricky though. You can't really see it, but there's a triple Mando before the basket. It's 282 feet, and there's not really an exact line. Yeah, but there's a to the left of the basket, pretty close, to the right of the basket, and then above there's like a mesh camo thing that apparently is OB even if you hit it. So I'm just gonna try to play something up the middle, and hopefully I don't bounce to the side of the Mando. There's no like actual line, so yeah, that's kind of a just throw and pray shot for me. Hole 7 is 226 foot par 3. It's pretty easy. I think it's out to the right of that bush in the distance. I throw my pallet here and it stables up a little too much, and I get in jail there. And you either push it farther. Yeah, you can see. Here's where I ended up. Okay, so it's actually to the left of the bush and behind it. So you don't want to hit this clump of stuff because then you have an obstructed putt. But it should be gettable. I think it maybe would be a forehand hole if I had more confidence in my forehand. Maybe I probably should have tried that. And this next hole I think is pretty fun. It's only 233 feet, but it's super to the left up here. Like the very edge of the camera is probably about where the basket is behind that clump of trees. So I'm throwing my flare here, and I think that's definitely gonna be my tournament play. But it hits something and just starts rolling away. But it was basically parked. It might have even hit the basket there. You can see I end up probably 40 feet away here. A low ceiling putt. Yeah, straddle putt too. So I'm not very confident in this kind of a putt. I just changed my putting grip as well recently. Yeah, there was a lot of wind on my practice round here. Like, it was so windy I didn't even want to use my normal putter. I thought it would turn over from like 40 feet. So I used the zone there. Yeah, there's one specific hole in this course that's just pretty evil. And everything else is kind of birdieable. You'll see it. But this is hole 8, 233 feet. Basic. You could do whatever you want here, really. Just it's straight out in the center. There's a clump of bushes on the left that can be a problem, but I parked that with my Mako turnover. Oh wait, that was not hole 8, that was hole 9. It was actually 226 feet. This one is hole 10, 430 feet. You can see the basket down there. Yeah, I threw the trace about the right distance. It just faded a little bit too much left because we had a bit of a right to left tailwind. I just carried it over there, and I tried my teleport here. I swing it out a little wider. This one had the right line. It actually lands like in line with the basket after skipping, but it's about 40 feet past probably. Here's the look I ended up after my teleport shot. Getting a lot of like nervy putts out of these. I should be able to get like all the 200 something foot holes I would hope to be parked on, but this one would be nice. I feel comfortable with this distance, so I think I'll definitely get strokes on especially the rec field, if I can get a 2 on a 430 foot hole. This next one's really tricky. I think there might be an alternate position that we didn't see, because it says for the tournament layout it's 194 feet, but I remember it being like 350 on the one we were playing today. Yeah, it's You see the American flag? It's to the right of that, just back. It was 350 feet. I went OB left actually here, and yeah, ended with a jump putt.
Happened 4, I guess.
But yeah, this hole, if it's 194, it's an alternate pin
Really thought
position,
my
but it's really tricky on the
shot's
normal
good.
layout. So
My second shot was good. My first.
hopefully I can walk away from that one without a bogey.
All right. Did you?
Hole 12 here is 200-foot shot. It's a tunnel shot. It looks kind of like a hole coming up. I don't know if this is also an alternate pin position because I'm pretty sure it was farther than 200 when we were playing it.
We'll put like peanut butter on them or something.
Knowing that I went with my reactor here. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who lost their discs on the last hole.
Yeah.
We threw into them, and well, we didn't see them over there, but they were like in the woods just looking for discs. Oh, I did miss my shot actually. Just got the talking to strangers, but I ended up here. It's definitely like, it was like 350 or something on the layout we were playing. So yeah, it's just a up the middle tunnel shot. I'll probably go reactor, Mako, or pilot depending on the wind. Next one is 220. Just it's either forehand hyzer over the top of that stuff or backhand like pilot or mid-range up the middle. But you got a really low ceiling. Oh, I didn't mean to leave that Richard in there. But I tried the forehand hyzer. It was okay. And then I tried the backhand, which I'm more comfortable with, but yeah, you're more likely to get kicked down to like a no look if you try to go under. So I think I'll probably go forehand hyzer, even though I'm less comfortable with that shot overall. Yeah, this is where I ended up with my first mid-range forehand hyzer shot. Missed the putt. There's a lot of like 35-foot putts on my practice round. I didn't make many of them. Okay, this is the evil hole. It's 430 feet and like the narrowest tunnel the entire way, OB left and right. So yeah, can't go to the left or right. And there's my Mako first shot. I pulled it. I tried to really sit on hyzer and like swing it, but you can't do that on this hole. So
I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
I might go with my pilot here if I'm feeling less greedy, which I throw my pilot here and I end up getting like probably like 250 down the fairway. Just, I don't know. It's a pretty safe shot, but you're not getting a great score. Here's where my pilot shot ended up. I did play out my Mako shot, and I kept hitting the sides. There's going to be people taking huge scores on this hole for sure. And hopefully I won't be one of them, but if I could go pilot here and make it to the basket in 2, that would be really good. It's a par 4, and it's hard. Definitely going to be playing above par 4 in my division. And here's where I ended up after my second pilot shot with a putt. This is technically for birdie, but the Mako one I played out, and I got like, I think a 6. So I want to avoid that if I can. Hole 15 was not in position when we were playing the practice round. There's a little like PVC pipe where the hole's supposed to be, and we're just playing to that. It's over the top of all the stuff and then ends to the left. So I'm just going with flares, probably spike hyzer. If I go anything glidey and like try to take a straighter line, I think it's less consistent than the spike hyzer, because I have to miss that bush or hit like that small gap in the center. So most likely flare hyzer here. I ended up a little short though, and jump putt approach because I hit that branch initially. Hole 16. This is interesting. It's double Mando here on the short tee, but we're playing from the long tee. And it's through that gap, and then it's really hard to the left. 253 foot into the field. So I just go with a flare and try to like skip it out to the basket, and it worked out pretty well. it's kind of scary because you have to miss all this stuff early, but if you just throw something really overstable, low into the ground's hard enough and the grass is not that long, so you'll probably skip close to the basket. And both my flares ended up pretty good here.
First one was a little better.
I think, yeah. Is that? I think those are
What?
both my shots. Yeah,
bit
there's
juiced.
my first flare, that blue one, and then my second flare
Yeah,
is
flare's
that
gotta be the
close
play
one.
here. For me,
Or the other way around. I threw them in the other order, but yeah,
'cause
they're both pretty
if I
close.
hit the
If I can
gap
hit the gap,
first,
I'll end
like
up
the
close
blue
here
one,
and probably
at best I'll be
have a pretty good birdie
parked
look.
like this.
I haven't checked the wind, but yeah, the wind when we were playing made it a lot more difficult. This is hole 17.
wind.
It's 285 feet. It's back tucked in the woods there, so you have to go over the top. I'm going flare again. And I'm just trying to crash it into the trees kind of near the basket and hopefully end up with some kind of putt.
That's what I was trying to do. Whether it's good or not, I just depends.
And I need to hear it's a this is weird. I thought it was a not hanging basket, but it's a hanging basket with like the pole still attached to it. It's like floating off the ground. It's like really weird. 'Cause like, why is the basket moving? But yeah, that was an awful jump putt attempt. So go for it again. Yeah, you can't leave like in the wind if you put any hyzer on or anhyzer on a jump putt. It's just doomed for sure. This is hole 18. This is another hole I'm not playing for birdie on really. It's 335, but you don't really have a line. There's that. Yeah, I tried to go for that kind of tight line there, the backhand just stable disc, but the like risk to reward for it is not very good because I'll probably get up there if I can if I hit that line, but you saw I hit the tree and it kicked way right, and then I'm in jail. So I think my tournament play here is gonna be thumber over the top, and it's a little hard for me to reach 335 with a thumber, but I can get close enough. And if I have a really good one, I might have a putt at it, but if I don't, then like this is like an average thumber I think for me. I'll end here probably like 50 feet away, and I'll probably just do a layup here, especially because this hole gets really windy and it's elevated. You miss like that and you have another scary putt on an elevated basket. So unless I really need to score here, I'm going for just a little layup and taking my 3. But yeah, I'll let you know how I did in the tournament, and hopefully this practice helped